This is the Live Out Loud podcast. On this space, we talk about intentional living and wholehearted parenting. My hope is to bring conversations to the table that encourage us to live an out loud faith and to live with intention for the kingdom of God in our family life and in our personal life as well. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Live Out Loud podcast. Fellow moms and friends, anyone who is listening, I just want to say thank you for being here today. And I'd also like to say I am truly so sorry for the break we took. It was unexpected on my part. And we just took 3 weeks, and we haven't been together. And for all of you who reached out and asked and sent messages, we are okay, and I appreciate those so much. We just had so much going on, and I was not expecting to take 3 weeks off, or 2 weeks off, I guess. I'm not even sure, but it's been a minute. So we are back together. I'm back to a space where I can record, and I'm just so excited to be back with you, back in your little earpiece or computer, wherever you're listening from, and just to spend a little bit more time again together in these conversations. I think that as mothers and keepers of the family schedule, we probably all know that Mother's Day is right around the corner. And if by chance you had no idea, I am here to tell you that next weekend is Mother's Day. Yay! So we get to celebrate with our families and whatnot. But Mother's Day can also be a challenging day for many mothers out there, and many hearts who have experienced loss. And this day can be a very tender day for a lot of hearts who have lost their own mother or who have lost their child. Just a painful reminder of what was. And before I just jump into today's podcast, I just want to say that you are seen. And you may not be seen by me. I don't know your name. I don't know who you are. But you are seen by a God who cares. There are no words I can say that will ease the pain of a tender day such as Mother's Day for many hearts. But I can say this: I hope that your day is surrounded by strength. I hope that you hear the whispers of love from the Father through the breeze, and that you are reminded that you are His, and you are seen and loved and chosen. I pray the tears that flow cleanse the heart and give new strength and hope and growth. I pray for peace on this day for you. If any of us have someone like this in our lives who this is a tender day for, let's remember to love them well, and let's show up for them as best we can. And remember that extra hugs and text messages or notes and cards mean so much. Let's love each other well. On today's show, I thought I would be a little transparent with you and kind of walk you through a little bit of my journey as a mom and where my heart has been in the past years and where my heart is at today. And it's just an exciting journey to look back, and I hope that you do this regularly as well, and just look back at the ways that you have grown and the things that you have learned in your journey as a mother, as a woman of God, and just to see how far we have come in our walk of faith. And to me, that is encouraging. It is encouraging to keep walking, keep pursuing, and in knowing that God isn't finished, and I'm not there yet, but God continues to work, and I want to continue to allow space for God to work. So today is just looking back at my own progress, my own journey, my own heart, and I'm excited to share that with you and let you in a little bit. And let me just say, it has not been pretty. It has been messy, but I'm here for it, so let's go. If you have children that live under your roof or maybe have moved off, what is it you think about when you think about Mother's Day? What is the picture you paint in your head? For me, it was the Hollywood, beautiful painted picture of a Mother's Day celebration where you wake up to breakfast in bed and a little flower from the yard on the tray with freshly squeezed orange juice and coffee as well. Why not? Let's throw that in there. And there's also beautifully wrapped gifts, and the day is just spent in bliss. That was my idea, where everything revolved around me for a day, because who doesn't like the idea of that, right? It just sounds wonderful. I held on to that for many, many years, and I'm going to tell you a secret that never happened once. And year after year, when Mother's Day was over, you know how I felt? Absolutely devastated. I didn't feel celebrated. I didn't feel like what was mine was actually given to me. And that right there should have been my first red flag. But that was the idea I would wake up to every single Mother's Day for many, many years. And looking back now, I can see how I wasted those precious days because I would wake up with this expectation that was never met. And anything that was done was always fallen short of because of my expectation and what I thought I deserved. And whoa, oh, the words that I'm just saying, they hurt now. And I'm saddened and thinking that I lost so many beautiful days of being able to feel celebrated in different ways. Yet God, right? He redeems, He restores, and here we are today. I'm able to say that that is no longer my heart. But going back, when my kids were itty bitty, it wasn't a day off. I had to show up and change the diapers, feed the babies, and usually get them ready for church, to show up all dressed and neat and hair fixed and bows in the hair, all the things. You are still mom. You don't get to take a day off. And I would wake up and think, okay, today's Mother's Day. I get to take the day off. I was wrong. A few years ago, I was having a little pity party for myself as Mother's Day came to a close, and here I was again wallowing in self-pity. Let me just say, what a terrible way to end a beautiful day, but here I was, and I was looking back on the day and reflecting on things that had happened, and I had received beautiful texts from friends and family. I had received these precious notes that my kids had hand-drawn and wrote these sweet things in. I had received flowers from the yard, though they were not on a tray of food, but I received flowers from the yard. The kids went out and thought of me as they cut these flowers and brought them in. I had ordered takeout, and the kids had asked what movie we wanted to watch or what movie I wanted to watch together, and I chose a movie, and we sat and watched the movie together over takeout. I started to list the ways, or I think God was revealing the ways that I was actually loved. And it blew me away. It wasn't what I had expected, but it was more than I even deserved. I was so humbled that day, and God had waited for me patiently year after year. And I do think that He had tried to reveal this before, but I was probably too stubborn to even see it. And on this particular Mother's Day, He whispered to my heart, "See, you are loved. You are cared for." That was my turning point. It's only been about 4 years since then, but I have to say every Mother's Day since then has been beautiful and full, and I have felt so loved, and I have truly enjoyed every moment of that day. I think so often we get caught up in what's deserved and what I deserve, and we look inward instead of seeing what's already there and what's already been given, and given beyond what we even deserve. I don't think there's anything wrong in truly enjoying a day of being celebrated. And I think that there's honor in that, in honoring our mothers and our parents on special days and, well, every day, right? But on these special days that have been set aside as a community celebration, what an honor to be able to celebrate our parents that way and to receive that from our children as well, and to look forward to that as well, like just the expectation of being celebrated, but to set an expectation and to expect people to celebrate a certain way, I think that that's unfair to them and to us. But if we can just be excited about that day, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I'm excited about the Sunday, about Mother's Day, and celebrating together. I have no clue what we are going to do and what that day is going to look like, but I'm excited to spend another day with my children and with my family. And I do wish I could spend it with my mother and celebrate her and everything that she means to me. but distance, and we live a little too far. So if you have your mother close, please hug her tightly and let her know that you love her. And if you have a broken relationship with your mother, I am truly sorry. And I pray for restoration or healing in that area of your life. But I look forward to celebrating together. And not because it is celebrating me, but it's because it is a celebration of where we've come from, of being a mother for 14 years now, and all of the growth that has been through all of that, and just the privilege of being a mother. So that's one way that Mother's Day has changed for me over the years. And the second way is the way that I see motherhood and the lens in which I see motherhood. You know, for years, especially when our kids are so little, the demands of our children seem to be nonstop and they seem to be constant. And I felt like I couldn't get a break or get a breath in even, and it just felt overwhelming so many times. And I don't think I'm alone in this. I think there are many of us who feel the same way. We've heard people say before that motherhood is an act of sacrifice. And that is true. You have to give up so much to show up for your children. You have to give up of who you are to be there for your family. But that's not just of motherhood. That is of a Christian person walking in the faith. We have to give up of ourselves to be like Christ, and that should bleed into motherhood as well. And that is something that I hadn't learned in the many years of first parenting, is motherhood is a sacrifice. What do I mean by that? I would see small interruptions of whatever I was doing, if I was reading a book or even washing dishes, and I would see interruptions as interruptions. And I could get easily frustrated because I didn't want to stop whatever I was doing, instead of seeing it as an opportunity for patience. I would think of the time it took to teach a new skill as time wasted, instead of the gift it was to teach someone a new skill. I would think of the chore that it was to make another meal for everyone to eat, instead of the blessing that it could be to put a beautiful dish on the table for everybody to enjoy together around the table. But God began to reveal to me that motherhood was a tool that He was using to shape me to be more like Christ. Every day was a beautiful process of sanctification if I allowed for that. There are many days where I fall short, many moments even, of God having to remind me that this is a process, that I am not there, that I have to take a breath in and remember that God is using these moments, my children, the interactions to shape me. And if I can let go of the expectations of what my day has to look like or my interactions have to look like, I can allow for more space for God to be and for God to step in and for beautiful connections to happen. It is a daily laying down of these expectations and living in the beautiful sacrifice that is motherhood, a sacrifice for His kingdom. Mamas, we are raising the next generation of believers, of soldiers, of men and women of God who will move their communities, who will speak life into those around them. That is who we are raising. And God does see our sacrifice. And you know what? He blesses it. Let's walk in that blessing today. And the third thing that I have learned through the 14 years of being a parent is have grace. Have grace with yourself, have grace with your children, and you know what? Have grace with others. Have grace with your parents. Have grace with your in-laws. Have grace with people. I don't know about you, but I woke up today thinking I have no clue how the next step is going to look. I did not wake up knowing the entire day. I just knew the things that I had to get accomplished, and I had to take one step at a time. Just like you, and just like everyone else, I have not lived today fully, and neither have you. And if we can remember that with the people in our lives, they have not experienced today. We are all on this day together for the first time. Let's give grace. Here's a sweet story about this grace topic. A few years ago, one of my children and I were going through a bit of a hard times. We were not quite seeing eye to eye, and things just weren't going very well between us. And I knew that if I didn't get a handle on it now, whenever we hit certain stages in life, our relationship was not going to be strong because of where we were. And I didn't have words to say, but I was staring my child in the eyes, and I just said, I've never been a mother to an 11-year-old. This is all new for me, just like you've never been an 11-year-old. This is all new for you, and we are learning together. And that conversation changed so much for us. And we were both able to give and take grace from each other, but it also reminded me to give grace to myself as well. I have not been a parent with today's challenges and whatever will come next, and neither have you, because we have not lived it out. But give grace to ourselves in knowing that we might be trying our very best, and God can redeem where we are falling short. And He can also reveal where we need to step up or where we need to readdress or repent. God is just good that way. So give grace to each other and give grace to our parents. Guys, they are being grandparents for the first time again, and they are trying their best. They love our children dearly, and let's just let them love our children where they are at and love us where they are at. And let's return that love and that grace back to them. Because what a beautiful gift it is to have family in our lives and to have loved ones who truly care for us. And if we could step away and see the whole picture and see that it is a blessing and we don't have to take everything personally. What a beautiful gift to everyone in our lives. So to wrap up, those are the three things, or three of the things that I have taken away from motherhood in the last several years. And to recap, the first one is no expectations. Let's just set those aside and enjoy being loved by those in our lives in the ways that they do love us, because they do care and they do show up for us. So let's set expectations aside. Number 2, let's remember that motherhood is a sacrifice, but it's not in vain. It is to become more like Christ and a gift to raise the next generation of Christ followers. And number 3, grace upon grace upon grace. What wonderful reminders going into a beautiful week of celebrating each other and celebrating who we are as mothers and as women of faith in our families. I pray you feel loved and step in with renewed strength for the next season of life as a mother. And if you happen to know someone who Mother's Day is a tender day for them, let's love them well. This has been the Live Out Loud podcast. Until next time.